Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Happy New Year's. Thank you so much for taking some time to check out the video today. Obviously, it is a new week. It's also a new year, though, for what it's worth. And with that, this upcoming week, we do have a new update going live within Modern Warfare 3 and Warzone. This is actually going to be a slightly larger update. It shouldn't be like a full-on title update or anything like that, but it will actually include more than what we've seen the past couple of weeks, as obviously the devs are still out on holiday break. But we've got a new event inbound, some other gameplay changes and whatnot happening. So lots to break down in terms of previewing this week's updates as we get into the details. If you enjoy the video, do me a favor, drop a like on it. It does seriously help the channel grow. And if you're new here or you simply haven't subscribed yet, every single day I'm your one-stop shop for all things going on in Call of Duty, news, updates, patch notes, meta breakdowns, and all the best loadouts. So if you want to stay up to date with that stuff, feel free to hit that subscribe button and join us ultimately on the road to 1 million subscribers. But this week is kind of interesting. As of right now when I'm recording this, we know of technically 2 updates that are going to be going live happening on Wednesday. This is our standard routine weekly update day, and this is where the majority of the major updates are going to be happening this week. However, it does seem that, at least according to the playlist preview screen, we are going to see a slightly smaller playlist update go live just a bit after we end up seeing the Vortex stuff drop. So it's kind of weird that it's happening at like 2 different times, but it is what it is. Initially, the first part of this week's update is a pretty big one. It's the end of the CODMAS event, or the holiday or Christmas event for this year. Obviously, right now we've got various different LTMs live with this holiday event, and that is Sleigh Ride Resurgence, it's Snowball Gunfighter, Snow Fight, we've got Holiday Infected, all these different LTMs that are holiday themed. All of these playlists are going to be ending on Wednesday alongside the actual on-menu event with Santa's Sleigh Ground. So if you have not gone through and completed these various different challenges, if you're interested in that LMG blueprint, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like it's kind of mediocre, but it's still gonna be a rare blueprint at the end of the day. So if you care enough to get that or the various other rewards through the multiplayer, zombies, or Warzone challenges, you only have until Wednesday morning to actually go through and complete those, and then this event is going to be completely done. That said, we do have a new event incoming right as Santa's Sleigh Ground actually concludes, and this one is definitely a bit more strange and doesn't really necessarily fit with the holiday and New Year's vibe, but it's a pretty cool event nonetheless. This is the Vortex event. So there's a handful of different things happening with this. Initially, multiplayer is getting essentially a never before seen mode with this Vortex event. As of right now, they're just calling it Vortex, but this is how they describe it. In this free-for-all mode, one player spawns in with the infamous zombies wonder weapon, the one-shot ray gun. Whoever eliminates the operator with the ray gun then becomes the new owner of this powerful and otherworldly pistol. Vortex takes place on 3 remixed multiplayer maps: Quarry, Spore Yard, and Tetanus. We'll talk about those in just a bit, but this is essentially going to be a sort of king of the hill like free-for-all LTM where, yes, for the first time ever, the ray gun is going to be accessible in multiplayer. Now, if you've played some MP the past couple of weeks, you might have seen that up until about 10 or so days ago, players were actually glitching and able to get the ray gun in their standard loadouts to use in like TDM or domination or whatever. They did thankfully go through and fix that pretty quickly, but this is where the ray gun is meant to be used, and it's going to be a pretty interesting LTM to be able to have that as like a full-on gun you can actually run around with, and it's going to be a one-shot, so if you're accurate with it, it's going to be crazy powerful. Now, as that little description of Vortex sort of hints at, we've got 3 quote-unquote new multiplayer maps coming with this event itself. They are basically 3 multiplayer maps that we already have. It's going to be Rust, Quarry, and Scrapyard, but they're all reimagined so that they are kind of completely different, at least from a visual standpoint. So initially we've got Tetanus, and this is a remix of Rust, and it's like a glowing green version of Rust under nightfall. There's like lightning going on in the background. It looks pretty crazy and definitely is a very different vibe for Rust. This will by far be the most hectic map to play the Vortex LTM on. We also have Satan's Quarry, which is Quarry, but if a volcano went off nearby. It's like covered in lava and red glowing rocks and stuff. Again, sort of under nightfall, so the lighting in the skybox is completely different here. Definitely an interesting take on what would be standard Quarry gameplay. Then lastly, we have what I think is by far the best looking Spore Yard. This is obviously Scrapyard, but it's under like this sort of blue and green nebula style skybox. I think it looks really pretty, honestly. I love that sort of vibe. and then there's like spores and whatnot growing all across the map as well. So the actual vibe of these maps and the looks is really different, and definitely something that is way outside of the standard gameplay, but it is specific for, you know, the Vortex LTM here. So these are not going to be permanent maps. They're only going to be live while this Vortex event is live. And we know that that is actually going to be live starting obviously here on January 3rd when the Christmas event ends, but it's going to be lasting all the way until the 17th when Season 1 Reloaded drops. So this is a multi-week event, and you're going to have plenty of time to actually go through, play the Vortex LTM, play these maps, and complete the new challenges that are going to be live for this event. Here's what they say about this. Enter the flames of the Vortex to fight for cataclysmic rewards. In this event, players will progress through the 15 available rewards by playing in the Vortex themed maps Tetanus, Satan's Quarry, and Sporeyard. So it's also possible that maybe outside of just the Vortex LTM with the ray gun, we get the chance to play these maps. I would certainly hope. Otherwise, the gameplay might become a bit monotonous going for 15 different challenges or 15 different rewards. But that's a pretty significant event. Obviously, with you know, CODMAS, we only had a handful leading up to the LMG blueprint. Some of the other events that we had are, you know, smaller in nature. They give us a universal camo though, so it's a bit larger reward in the end game. But 15 new rewards are going to be available through this, which is definitely exciting to see. So while the CODMAS event is coming to a close, we've got a very significant, arguably more significant update and event happening with Vortex that'll span the next couple of weeks, which is certainly very exciting. Now, outside of the Vortex update and Vortex event this week, we do have some other smaller updates still planned to go out, it would seem. Currently, we don't have any previews as to what will be changing for Warzone. Obviously, Vortex definitely seems like it's a mainly multiplayer-focused event. I'm sure there'll be some challenges that are accessible in Warzone or Zombies. We're going to have to wait and see for that, obviously. However, within Warzone itself, we should be seeing a new playlist update go live. We know that Sleigh Ride Resurgence is ending, obviously, as mentioned, so something should be taking its place. And then also over in multiplayer, with the end of all of the CODMAS playlists, we know that Meat 24/7 is going to be returning this week. Then outside of that, we should see some other LTMs. Obviously, Vortex itself is going to be dropping, but there should be some other new, you know, weekly playlist updates for some LTMs going live there. But Meat 24/7 is that main one that's confirmed for that. Keep in mind, the devs are still out of office, it seems like, throughout this upcoming week, obviously for New Year's, and then they'll be back next week. So as far as any actual gameplay updates go or any major fixes, I probably would not be expecting too much to happen there. We do know we still are going to see that standard stuff happen, though, alongside the weekly playlist updates in the form of the weekly challenges, too. So we're going to see a new update there to introduce the Week 5 challenges. It's possible that we see a new weapon drop with the TAC Evolver. That's still slated as an in-season weapon, likely through the weekly challenges. So that's always a possibility, or it may end up being another new aftermarket part. And obviously, once those notes are out and once that update is officially live, we'll be covering it right here on the channel. So stick it here for that if you want to stay up to date with that, alongside everything else also going on in COD on a daily basis. News, updates, patch notes, meta breakdowns. I got you covered with it all right here. And if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, drop a like on it. It would be really appreciated. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.